Carman St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of soft on crime Liberals, Canada is seeing a 32% rise of violent crime. Gang murders have doubled in this country. Repeat violent offenders are getting bail over and over again. Once safe neighborhoods have become havens for crime and violence. And in response, premiers, police, Toronto are demanding bail reform from this Prime Minister. And today, the Liberal government can finally take action by voting for the Conservative motion calling for tough on crime bail reform. Will they be voting yes, Mr. Speaker, yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians deserve to feel safe, and they deserve to be safe. Mr. Speaker, bail reform has been on our radar screen since a meeting, at the very least, with provincial ministers of justice in late October. Mr. Speaker, we committed at that point to looking at what we could do at the federal level in terms of reforming our bail laws, but also, Mr. Speaker, looking at how we could better support the provinces in the administration of the bail regime that currently exists. Mr. Speaker, we're committed to that, and we'll continue to work in that direction.
I just want to remind certain members that they have beautiful, strong voices, but this is not the place to really let them loose. So I'm sure they don't want to be identified. They're very modest. They don't want us to see who they are. So I just want to remind them that. The Honourable Member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Mr. Speaker, after 8 years, that answer does not give a lot of comfort that the Liberals are interested in fixing the bail system that they broke.
That's right.
Last week, the Kelowna RCMP issued a public warning about a violent, high-risk, repeat offender who escaped from a recovery home who was granted bail in December despite a revolving door of criminal convictions and a history of disobeying court orders.
Wow.
Will the Prime Minister take responsibility, reverse course, and fix the bail system that he broke?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, our bail system is one that creates a number of different balances based on charter rights that individuals have, based on the presumption of innocence until being found guilty, but also, Mr. Speaker, primordial making sure that Canadians are safe. Nobody out on bail, Mr. Speaker, should pose a threat to the security of Canadians. That is, in fact, what the law is. There are a number of reverse onuses in effect already in that law. We're willing to look at other measures within that law. We're working with the provinces and territories in that regard, Mr. Speaker. We'll continue to make sure that we keep Canadians safe, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Well, Mr. Speaker, a typical Liberal response where they deflect and blame. There's nothing worth applauding about the Liberals' record on public safety or their record on protecting victims of crime. After 8 years of this Prime Minister, violent crime has increased 32%, gang-related homicides have increased 92%, and every province, territory, and premier agrees that the bail system is broken. So will the Prime Minister fail the bail system he broke or get out of the way so the Conservatives can?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I assure my colleague and all members in this chamber that we are introducing common sense policies like Bill C-75, which allow us to concentrate on the most serious offenders so that we can protect our communities. I would also point out to my Conservative colleagues that this is a government that has invested hundreds of millions of dollars both to support law enforcement as well as to address the root causes of crime so that we can stop it before it starts. And what have the Conservatives done in each of those instances? They have voted against. Mr. Speaker, if they're serious about taking crime seriously, then they should get serious about supporting this government's policies. Thank you.
L'honorable député de Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord.
Monsieur le Président, après 8 ans.
Mr. Speaker, after 8 years with this Prime Minister, the numbers are worrisome. Violent crime increased by 32%. Gang-related murders increased by 92%. That's where we're at with the Liberals. And why? Because they're setting up policies that benefit criminals instead of victims. Could the minister please protect victims and leave rapists and gangsters where they belong? In jail. The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, we've invested more than any other government in Canadian history in order to protect victims and to make sure that victims are heard in our justice system. As for the conditional liberation system, no one's going to be released who's a threat to Canadian safety. We're going to work with provinces and territories to make sure that we improve the system and support provinces in administering it. The honourable member for Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, I can't believe that this minister is trying to protect this bill. There's obviously a problem with the word justice in this minister's office. Thanks to this new law, a gangster caught with illegal loaded guns and a rapist can serve their sentence at home. The Liberal track record after 8 years, a country where victims' rights aren't a priority. Can the minister admit that C5 is a failure and send criminals back to jail so that victims can get justice? The Honourable Minister of Justice. Serious crimes deserve serious consequences. That's the basis that we're going on to move on from the failure of the Harper-era tough-on-crime policies. What we're doing is dedicating resources to serious crimes and not wasting legal and police resources on less serious crimes. We are improving the justice system, and we will